We'll be making a beach epoxy clock out of a regular dollar store clock. So the first thing you need is just any regular dollar store clock. Start pulling stuff apart until it comes off. Make sure to keep it safe because we're going to be putting it back together later. And now we just have an empty circle. We are going to paint the top of the clock in a beach theme. Sandy color on the bottom. Then we're going to go in with a bit of white. Stick the paints first. A little bit of white. And we're going to go in with the light blues. And a layer of white again. Light blue. Darker. And we're going to end with a little bit of black at the top. And then, don't worry really about how it looks. It's going to look great no matter what. It's abstract. You can't mess it up. It's going to be beautiful. Now, the next step is to wait for it to dry. I have a solution. No, this shouldn't be done, but I have too much paint and I want to kind of disperse it. This is only going to help it dry faster. You completely do not even have to do this. I don't know why I'm doing it. I just thought it was acceptable. Do you think if I spin it fast enough, it'll dry?
Oh. No.
So now that it's dry, we're gonna make the epoxy. We're gonna use the same colors and then mix them individually in cups. First, we're gonna make all of the resin in one giant cup. So the one I'm using is Exotic Woods. Different epoxies have different mixtures. So this one is a 2-to-1. So I'm gonna mix it in a regular plastic cup. Before we start, we need to take precautions. Because I am clumsy, I like to put on a full suit for full protection. Also, I like to put on gloves. I like to double glove because it's very messy. And also it's easier to just take off a glove. So we're gonna first open the resin. Just gonna add a little bit more. You know, I never know how much to use, so either over or underestimate. So we have about this much resin. This one's also pretty smelly, so just don't direct inhale. It's a 1 ratio. And now I'm going to take my stirring sticks and just start mixing. So you can see swirls where the two mixtures aren't fully mixed. So you want to mix it until it's all one consistent mixture, or else some parts might not dry at all. We're going to use the same acrylic paint that we used for the board. We're not going to use too much of it because if you add too much to the epoxy, it kind of coagulates it and then it doesn't dry properly, so it looks really bad. So we're going to split the original resin epoxy mixture into different cups for different colors. I'm going to use the most for the white and then save a bit of extra for the clear. So the most is actually going to be clear. I'm also going to use a specific white pigment for epoxy. It makes the whites really white and makes it pop and stand out. And then I'm also going to be putting some silicone oil in a little mixture of just clear epoxy. It'll help the waves sell out. Now, when using epoxy, it is self-leveling, so it will spill off the sides. Totally fine, it always happens. You can put a layer of tape around it, which, why not? Why don't I do that? Perfect. I don't want to break this. I'm very strong. You want to make sure that the tape is fully secure to the board because epoxy loves to find any hole to just leak out of. So now I'm just going to start with the bottom with the sand color. And then just kind of pour it on. I'm going to reserve some in the cup just so I have. And then we're going to go in with the light blue just so I can kind of map it out. Got some light blue here. More light blue up here. Now just keep adding. So I don't want to touch it with my fingers because I want to keep the colors. I forgot there's a hole in the middle. I'm right, it's a clock. Okay, all the epoxy's gonna drain out the middle. Wow. There's a hole, it's a clock. So we're just gonna pop a hole. Wow, I'm good. I'm good at this. I didn't really notice that fast. So you can tell that I kind of messed it up. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm gonna add a bit more blue. So this is not how it's gonna look in the end. Don't you worry. I'm worried right now. So because of what happened, a lot of the browns kind of hid. So I'm just gonna start moving it around to expose more of the colors that I want to see. Start mixing in the browns to the whites and the blues. And then mix the blues together. So we have a leak, obviously. Put more tape, see if it'll help. I'm gonna stick a paper towel on it so it kind of absorbs it. Stick tape over it. I have good YouTube videos out there to tell you what you're doing. There's holes everywhere. Pretty good. Not what I expected at all. And now we're just gonna wait for it to dry. If I don't like it, I'll put more epoxy on it and try to fix it up. So I guess now I wait 10 to 12 hours. About overnight. Been like 24 hours since we last did this. And I'm just gonna start taking stuff apart. So I definitely didn't think this through properly because the epoxy is really sticking to it. I don't know if this is worse or better. These scissors don't even have a sharp side. So now I went around both the edges. The corners were sharp. Initially I put the tape on incorrectly, so then it was kind of folding in. You can see the edges where the tape was folded in, and then it was difficult to take the tape off after. This is definitely not a perfect circle. And now we're gonna put it together. I don't know if I like it. So I'm gonna take the same color that I originally used, take a paintbrush, and then just paint over it in the areas. And then I'm going to take the light blue and put it on the areas of blue, just to keep it separate. So now all of the edges are coated. It looks much better. This here is the final product. We have our epoxy resin clock. Every time you use epoxy, you're going to have a different outcome. Epoxy always behaves differently. So if it doesn't turn out perfectly, don't worry about it. I'm definitely going to keep trying to get those beach waves. But this is what we have so far, and that's it.